Mighty number 9.
Hello everyone, I'm usually dead. I'm taking a break from my other project of playing Pokemon White 2 for this. I am a multi-decade fan of Mega Man, specifically Mega Man X and the Mega Man Zero games. And to that end, I backed this game, this project, about 3 years ago when Keiji Inafune left Capcom and said, I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to make a new Mega Man, basically. I am Kickstarter backer number 23,741. I'm deleting right now less than an hour that I played solo, and after voicing some concerns that I and everybody else on the planet have with this game, some friends said, I want to see you play it, UD, so I'm basically doing it for them. We're going to be honest. If there is something good to be had here, then we're going to seek it. We're going to mention it. We're going to call it out honestly. I also have the voices in Japanese, because the English voice acting drives me crazy, the Japanese less so. This is like a carbon copy cutout of like the opening of Mega Man 6. And then something horribly went wrong, just like every story always in all of fiction. The game didn't look too bad at this part. Like, when I just started, I mean, Beck looks kind of childish, but no biggie. It is meant to be like a cartoony, cel-shaded anime style thing, which, you know, is not the end of the world.
System ready? Go!
The professor having a Nabeshin haircut was kind of surprising, but... Look at this. These are like PS2 era models, but just with modern high-res on them. Hi, Hakase. So, right off the bat, how are the gameplay mechanics similar to Mega Man? Basic movement, jumping, moving left to right, it's about at the same speed, have about the same jump arcs. You can shoot just like Mega Man, but you cannot charge, at least not for the very little of the game that I've played so far. I don't know if that's an ability that you get later. So far that's starting to seem just like very early Mega Man, like 1, 2, I think you got your charge ability in 3, 4, I forget which one. But no charging. You can dash, but that's not been unlocked yet apparently. Oh boy. This has most certainly got, like, at best, PS2 era production value. Look at this still photo while somebody talks. You couldn't even animate the model? I mean, what's going on? Oh, his mouth is open now. Wow. You notice the professors... I think he was named Professor White, the Nabeshin haircut dude that we just saw. That's one of the mighty numbers I'll be fighting, no doubt. The character design of the robots has not yet struck me as utterly terrible. It's fine so far. Yeah, Dr. White, there he is. So Dr. White and Dr. Blackwell. That's really no better than Dr. Light and Dr. Wily. That's every bit as ridiculous. But here I think is where we start getting into the real problems. That's not very good portrait art, I'm sorry. That guy looks like his cheek is giving birth to another face. So, you attack people to weaken them, and then you have to dash in them to absorb their buff power. You can air dash at least, that's pretty good. But here's the other big thing that really disappointed me. unlike with Mega Man X and Mega Man Zero, which were my big favorite standbys of the series, you cannot wall climb. You can't wall jump or rappel off walls or dash jump off walls. You can only grip on ledges, similar to what Samus would do at the end of, not at the end of, but in Zero Mission and in Fusion, which really hurts the fun of it for me. So the idea here is you weaken enemies and then you face plant them. Excuse my inability to speak. You face plant them in order to get these combos that I haven't figured out what they do yet, and also temporary buffs. Emphasis on the temporary. I mean, they do make you more powerful for a while, but at least so far as I've been able to tell, you can't rely on it. See that right there? That's a buff. I don't know what that does. Is that a defense buff? I don't know. This, I'm pretty sure, is an offensive buff because, yeah, there you go, you see. My shot has been upgraded, but there's a timer on it. The timer wears out, so I don't feel like I can count on the buff. And now it's gone, and now my shot's back to normal. So this, I guess, is trying to reward being fast and speedy? But say, because the buffs are short-lived and you can't count on them, what if you just want to try to abandon them altogether and not even worry about doing, trying to collect them? Well, you can still get through enemies without face planting them, but they take a lot of extra firepower to get through. See how many more shots that takes just to entirely cancel the enemy as opposed, entirely destroy the enemy as opposed to absorbing it. And it really slows down the tempo of things. So you're encouraged to do the face planting thing. And really, the encouragement that I feel in face planting these enemies is just to get them out of the way faster. Not to get the buffs, because again, I don't feel like I can count on the buffs. Also, did I just find out that I can air dash multiple times? Oh, apparently I can. That's actually cool. I didn't know I could air dash multiple times. And I'm not trying to be prejudicially harsh or judgmental before giving the game a fair shake. I don't know yet. But my gut tells me that having to face plant enemies in order to keep up the tempo of your movement is going to hurt things. With Mega Man X and Mega Man Zero, you had typically enough firepower to just blast on through normal enemies if you knew how to place your shots or your saber well. And that was the fun of it. It means, after you gained a certain level of skill, you could start to really feel like a god and just charge on through and kill everything in your path, and it felt wonderful. I don't get that feeling here. One of these buffs is a penetrating shot, I'm betting, based on what just happened. It is pretty cool to be able to do unlimited air dashing. I wonder if that truly is unlimited. I should test that. Well, yeah, but you still unavoidably fall a little bit each time. Yeah, this is going to have a very different tempo than Mega Man X or Zero games, because, like, a single charge shot could blast through multiple enemies without losing any of its power. It penetrated. But that's not the case here. Unless you have that penetration buff, you have to weaken each enemy individually and then face plant them. And I'm not saying everything has to be exactly like my nostalgia or I can't enjoy it. Maybe it'll be fun in its own right. I don't know. It just my gut tells me no so far. And I obviously I've not been paying any attention to the story here, because it's all. I mean, you can read the text at the bottom if you want. Most of my viewers aren't going to be able to understand Japanese in any case. If the voice bugged me, I probably should have just turned that off to see if there was a way I could have deactivated voice volume, but whatever. Ow. This is a similar project in nature to when I was LPing some games from my childhood that I hadn't played in years and years. Wow, thanks for the vote of confidence, dude. Oh, that's right, you're a helper bot. I had LP'd some games from my childhood and found that, from the perspective of nostalgia, they didn't really hold up all that well. They were still fun games, but they had problems, and to be intellectually honest meant that you had to acknowledge those problems. Oh, yeah, it's true. We wouldn't want the laboratory to get in bad shape now, would we? So, entry boss fight. Let's see how this goes. When I was just playing this game solo, I did get past this part, but not much further. I got like one step into the Firebots level and felt really sick and sad, and then I stopped. But to do it for your amusement means I'll be able to complete the whole thing. Yeah. You can see I'm weakening him repeatedly with my popcorn shots and then face planting him, and that's how I advance the boss fight. Ah! I should know better than that. Ow. And I think we're done. You know, one thing that has not changed in Inafune's vision of the robot hero is how much of a puss he sounds like.
Mission clear.
He does not have a very relatable voice. I don't know, maybe the English voice actor is a little bit better. I didn't listen to much of him. But I remember in the voice acting of, say, like, Zero's Japanese lines in Light Mega Man X4, 5, 6, he had a very deep voice. He's very masculine. And this, yeah. Look at this production value. This doesn't look great at all. Look, he's just sitting there with a giant circle on his face. Look, my mouth is open. That's how you know I'm talking. Nah, this is pretty bad. In fact, God, this even looks like PS1 era at moments. Look at that nonsense. I know it's supposed to be cartoony, but like modern cartoony cel-shaded style games will have more animation, more life. Yeah, this is very, very dead looking. Pretty bad for a cutscene. But that's a badly translated line. That's not what he said at all. He said, "Bokuga," which means what? Me? You want me to go? He didn't say great idea. Oh my God! Look at that! Look at his face. He looks like a chipmunk. A giant anime chipmunk with lightning bolts for blush. I'm sorry. I really liked Call's character design in the concept art that was shown during the Kickstarter campaign. But this is not a good 3D realization of it. Look at that. These characters are all very dead looking. Like, look at him. Look at the look on his face. Please kill me now. I'm so sick of existing. My hair is trying to turn into a sponge and I can't handle this. Alright, so this is I had no idea where to start. So I just thought, yeah, fuck it. I'm probably not going to win the first time I go do it, so let's just try the first level that's in the rotation. Whoops. So this is about how far I got before just kind of stopping playing out of a sick feeling of sadness. Wow, this writing is great. It's okay, right? It's kind of meant to be bad because it's based on old video games from the 90s and that makes it okay. You're gonna light this on fire, aren't you? Or do I just have to duck under you? Okay. I'm just gonna fly as often as possible. I hope that's permissible. You see, my instinct here is to dash jump, because you can do that. You can dash jump from the ground. Kind of? Yeah, you just have to start the dash first and then you can jump. See, my instinct here from my pedigree in playing X-styled games is just to jump to the far wall and they kind of slide down. I can't do that. And I wonder why Inafune and his team decided to copy certain elements of Mega Man X, but not others. Like dashing, dash jumping, air dashing, that's all just carbon copy Mega Man X. But not the wall climbing and not the charge shots, weirdly enough. Why is that, I wonder? Were they afraid if they got that close to Mega Man X that Capcom would sue them on the IP that they've decided to never use again? I guess I don't have to care about you, do I? I don't need to absorb every enemy here. Oh, relax, dude. You're a robot. You probably got good, strong grip. Most people watching this would probably remember there was a commercial of this game that talked about making the enemy sadder than an anime fan on prom night, like this really mean-spirited line that was meant to be a joke. If you haven't seen that, you can look it up on YouTube easily enough. I wasn't even aware of that commercial before I started playing this game, just because... Ah, shizbiz! You know, I'd followed the game pretty thoroughly during the Kickstarter campaign, and I felt like I knew all I needed to know about it, so I didn't watch any commercials. But as soon as I heard that line, I was like, wow, yeah, I could see why people are pissed off. You do realize, Mr. Marketing for Concept, that a lot of these people are anime fans. A lot of them are probably quiet, introvert, single-player gamers, and that means that they're not necessarily the biggest of social butterflies, and they might have had trouble in high school. So that's a pretty mean thing to say to your customer base. Anyway, other people have already made that critique, so I won't go further there. Okay, so just so I don't get bogged down in negativity unnecessarily, I wanna cover what are the big problems I've seen so far. Ow! I've seen the cutscenes look really, really dead and lifeless, and the writing is not trying to transcend its origins. It's sounding just as bad as stuff from the 80s and 90s did. This is 2016. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to be George Lucas and intentionally make bad media for the sake of nostalgia, you know? This is part of it, too. The names of the mighty numbers. Like, I think his name is Pyrogard. Burn, burn, burn to the ground, transformation, woo. I hope he doesn't do that during the boss fight. Oh, we're gonna do that, huh? Mega Man, come in. Uh-oh. Yeah. This is a curtain fire shooter all of a sudden, apparently. And I'm on the edge of death. Those would probably be the two big things. The writing not trying to transcend its origins, and the animations and backgrounds and such in the cutscenes being really bad. These character designs, too, of the enemies may be a little bit too oversimplified. I'm not sure about that yet. I'm probably going to die right now. I don't see a way around this. No, I'm not going to have any confidence in myself. I'm UD, that's not a thing I do. Wow. I feel myself entering a stage of rampant aggravation every time anybody speaks. Possible exception being Call just because she's a cute anime robot, but that's just my biases speaking. That's not a good thing. Oh, and I lost. Well, good for me. As far as the more... I mean, the visual design has problems. The writing definitely has problems, even though I'm not going to care too much about that in games, thankfully. But the biggest issue, of course, is the gameplay. Media assets would be a secondary issue, and I don't know how I feel about any of the music. The visuals certainly feel lackluster, but gameplay is foremost. Gameplay is the most important thing. And so far, how do I feel about the gameplay? Well, I don't know. I haven't done enough of it to give what feels like a fair analysis. Ow, 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 ow. Panic, panic, panic. Death, death, death. Ah. Oh, those are insta-kill spikes. I'm so good at games. What if I feel like the Zell absorption is just too much of a pain in the ass? Because, you know, I don't want to go through the work of face-planting the enemies, and the buffs don't last that long anyway. So I just end up avoiding enemies whenever possible. And that makes, instead of a Mega Man game, that makes it feel like more like a Donkey Kong game, where you just have to avoid everything because it's just not worth the effort of trying to cope with it. I mean, in reality, in Donkey Kong games, most anything you touch would kill you. There was like, especially in 2 and 3, there was like a minority of enemies who you could actually defeat by jumping on. Most of them would just murder you. But that's kind of where I feel myself getting. I don't want to go through the work of getting the buffs. I mean, wherever possible, I'd rather just avoid people. Leave me the hell alone. Ah. Yeah, I'm not confident in my own movement yet, so I keep second-guessing myself and doing stupid crap like that. That's okay. You're just playing a Mega Man game for the very first time. There's going to be stupid mistakes. It's probably more my fault than the game's. Hey, dude, thanks for being there. You're there as a mercy option, aren't you? I was sucking, so you came here to give me a health restore. The thing is, when an enemy is weakened, you can't absorb them except by dashing into them. You have to dash into them. Your dash has to be like already confirmed, or you don't get the absorption. You just take damage. And maybe it's just going to be a matter of practice makes perfect, but for now, motherfuck. I feel like I'm just taking damage more often than I'm getting the buffs. I don't have the timing down yet. You can just dash without jumping. Attempt number 3 on this segment, by the way. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so just dash without jumping, and that'll get you there. Okay, this is new territory. I have not at all been here yet. Ah! Thank you, Call. But couldn't not have told that. I mean, it's not like I had environmental cues or some kind of a gameplay cue to let me know that the structure was not safe. I needed a character to tell me this with words. Well, at very least, I mean, even if it doesn't have some of the superb player training with a lack of verbal cues that some of the earlier Mega Man and Mega Man X games did, at very least it's not doing the thing that, like, Mega Man X5 did, where you were forced to stop and finish the dialogue. Oh, shit! Or you couldn't proceed in the game. Oh, that's a one-hit kill. Okay, that's good to know. So going fast here is not encouraged. It's more like go fast and you get killed by a giant collapsing tower. A giant collapsing tower which isn't actually hurting the structures in front of me. It's just kind of like falling through them in a really crappy looking way. That's not a very good effect. Look at that, it just clipped right through it, like the polygons passed through each other. There was like no destruction or the silo buckling as it bent over and bounced off. We were doing that on the Wii, you know. Yeah, for how long this game took to make, there are some production value problems. Like, and there's also player problems of sucking and just not being very good. Okay, so taking down the platforms, that's new. If I weren't allowed unlimited air dashes, this would not be possible. No! God! Damn.
Game over.
Ah. The game's realizing that I'm having trouble with all these environmental hazards and is trying to mitigate that a little bit. Without actually taking away the challenge of the section, that's alright. That's an okay way of dealing with things. This does feel like it's got more teeth to it than most Mega Man X sections did. Maybe that's just my bias because I played those so many I had them micro-memorized. Don't. Flame High Art is way too fresh in the memory, dude. The character design of him having muscles when his body's on fire, that is a smart idea. Oh my god, that's awful. I don't speak Japanese, and that sounds awful even to me. Alright, so attempt number 1 on this. I have no idea what I'm up against. Pretty straightforward so far, but I'm sure he has more than one pattern. Or at least, oh, yep, there we go. Oh, okay. So at what point do you jump and faceplant me? What? Ah, oh, okay, so you were weakened. Alright, so that's when I faceplant you. Yeah, this game's got a profuse love of ramming things with your face. The enemies do it, Beck is supposed to do it. Everybody seems... That's the in thing, is just ramming things with your face. What? Okay. Gotta learn to telegraph that nonsense. Attempt number 4. It's your pose. It's whether you're putting your fist on the ground or holding your arms up in the air. That's how I tell. Okay. See, now you're going to stay down the whole time. Yep, that's it. I still can't touch the walls. And now you're going to... Yeah, you're going to stay down the whole time. Alright. And now you're going to jump. Yeah, but the walls being on fire is screwing me up still. You didn't do either in that case, so but you still stayed on the ground and exploded. Attempt number 6. Explosion is too big, really. Okay, this is new. You're in desperation mode now, and I have no additional abilities. Don't tell me this means your explosion is bigger. No, it just means you're faster, I guess. Ah, fuck.
Game over. System ready? Go!
Now I've got to start the whole level all over again. That's most certainly nostalgia. And not in a good way. This is not a thing that I thought had like appeared in modern gaming, except for in frickin' Dark Souls and Demon Souls. Kind of shows a disrespect for the player's time, especially considering now most of these players are not children with unlimited summer afternoons to spend on gaming. We're adults with spouses and jobs that shit, and you may want to have just checkpoints with unlimited restarts at that checkpoint. The gaming world has changed, man, and your audience has changed. That's not really an excuse to... This is a thing now. I'm going to call this a thing. This is what's called pulling a George Lucas. It's adhering to the traditions of the past in media so strictly that you also adhere to the bad things of the past that we were supposed to have grown out of. Oh, sorry. Attempt number 13. I want to one-shot you! Rawr! I don't have a problem with a Mega Man style boss the very first time I encounter it taking 13 attempts. I really don't. I don't. That's fine. And honestly, leaning more on the hard side, while definitely being more towards the difficult end of the spectrum, that boss fight was kind of fun to learn. That was not the worst thing ever. Yeah, thanks. So you did all this without fearing that Capcom would sue you, but charge shots and wall jumping just was a little bit too far, huh? I can't. I OD'd on Botox and now my face is stuck like this permanently. Oh my god, I'm having a hard time looking at this. These models are so frickin' ugly, dude. The face, man. It's gonna haunt me. Dr. White. Mm-hmm.
ところでサンダー、ここに来る途中、チェリーダイナミックスの記者会見を見たんだが、あそこの社長さん、ロボットたちの暴走はドクターブラックウェル。
Remember that thing that the player saw an hour of gameplay ago? Let's recap that. And all smart people are morally good.
それも今回と同じくバトルコロッセオの開催中にね。あのサイバーテロは
I don't know what you're talking about. I guess. I didn't pay close attention to the opening cutscene either time. His mouth. Sometimes it's open when he's talking and sometimes not. Also, Sanda on the left there is just permanently stuck in a grin no matter what his actual emotional state is. I'm happy at all things all the time. My god. You know, I would honestly prefer having still portraits in visual novel style with these guys talking back and forth. I would honestly prefer that, assuming the portraits were nice looking, you know, assuming the art was good. I would prefer that to these horrible, ugly models. I really would. That would be better. The gameplay, aside from the critiques I've mentioned, doesn't feel like the worst thing in the universe. It really doesn't. But nor does it feel transcendent. Nor does it doesn't feel like the creator of Mega Man came back 3 decades later with a whole bunch of new stuff that he has learned in the interim. This instead feels like there is a tribute to Mega Man that someone has made, and it's not really quite as good as the original. They missed the philosophical point on a lot of the finer subtleties. That's what this feels like. It does not feel like Mega Man in a new generation. It feels like Mega Man in 2006. That's what this feels like. That's kind of sad. That's really sad. So, this now begs the question, should I finish this? Should I do the rest of Mighty Number 9, or should I go back to our regularly scheduled LPs that I was doing before the project interrupted for this? Tell me what you think.